Hi guys, my name is Vlad from Vlad's Art, and I want to share to you today my first ever paludarium setup. In this video, I want to share with you the overall setup of this paludarium and the plants that I used to complete it. So let's start off in the water section of this paludarium. So I set up this paludarium to look like a stream where one might see in nature when plants in the water could creep out into the dry part. So the plants I chose are just foreground plants because the water section is not very deep. So in the right side of this paludarium, I planted some giant baby tears. This is called a Micranthemum umbrosum. It'll grow out of the water, which I can then trim as it will exhibit a bush-like appearance. On the side of it, this is called a Hydrocotyle tripartita. Hydrocotyle looks like a lily pad. However, the leaf is divided into 3 sections. It's a beautiful plant as it can creep out of the water like this one here. And on the side of it, this is a hair grass. I think it's taking its time to grow and creep as well. And you can see a small red cherry shrimp. This is a female one as it is more redder and larger than the males. Most of the time you cannot really see them as they go about their day grazing on leaves, the soil, or the glass, eating algae. You might want to see the male. Here is a male. There. It lacks color. There are just a very small amount of red flecks or dots in his body. There are about 5 shrimps in this paludarium, and they are the only inhabitants in the water sections of this paludarium. So here is a cryptocoryne, or I don't know how it is pronounced, but it's cryptocoryne parva, a small crypt. You might see that there are algae on the leaves of these plants because it really is taking its time to grow. On the side of it, this is a very unique plant. This is called Marsilea hirsuta. It earns its name as a water clover because you see it's composed of 4 sections on its leaf. And you might want to say it's a lucky plant, but it's really normal. Its immersed growth is having that appearance, that's what makes it unique. And then once submerged in the water, it'll be like this. It'll be more globular, attached to the tip of its stem. And I can say that they are happily growing in this part because it's already branching and creeping with roots. I planted a couple of them in here, and in this part I have the Ludwigia, the green and red form. There. And on the farthest part of the water section, I planted Bacopa caroliniana and Bacopa moneri. You cannot yet tell them apart, but I'm hoping that they will grow out of the water and exhibit their foliage. On the driftwoods, I placed some Java moss. and I'm hoping that they would creep out soon and fill this part of the driftwood, like this one in here. And I have stones as well. This is called a dragon stone. It's called as such because it reminded hobbyists of how dragon scales looks like from their color and from the crevices and holes of this stone. On the crevices I put in some aquatic seeds. I ordered it online, but unfortunately I cannot read the label. So hopefully when they grow mature, I would be able to tell from their leaves on what plants they are. But this grass-like plant, I think this is a giant hair grass. There are a couple of aquatic seeds as well sprinkled on the banks of this paludarium. So it helps in the transition from water to land, making it more natural. The banks of this paludarium is DIY'd from styrofoams, and then I siliconed some coconut fiber in them. I really intend to use expanding foam, however, it's really hard to come by materials from where I come from, and so I just use what I have. And here's the stream. I have a bottle of water cut and used for acting as a filter, where the water drips and flow from the upper portion of this terrarium into the water area. It's a slow moving stream, and on the banks of it I planted more aquatic plants that are on their immersed form. So this stream is also DIY'd from plastic sheets where I cut it into a long strip. I siliconed those rocks, those river rocks, on the bottom, on the sides, and sprinkled it with small pebbles, river pebbles as well. And that part where the water comes from, that's a Java moss in there. Let's see. It is a water bottle. Then I cut the upper part or upper portion of it and attached the airline tubing from the pump into that water bottle. Then I added the moss to act as a filter to filter out those small debris from the bottom of the false bottom. And inside there are ceramic rings to act as a biological filter of this water section on this terrarium. The dry section of this paludarium are planted with high moisture tolerant plants and can also tackle high humidity levels. On this side, I planted spider plants. And on the driftwood, I also placed some dendrobium orchids. Then this is the dendrobium that would not be growing so big. I already or had some of them bloomed with white flowers. And then there are two types of ferns in here. This one, which looks like a Boston fern. I really do not know yet its name. And this fern, This is a giant fern, but currently it's on its juvenile form. Then there are caladiums in here as well, which are happily growing as I am seeing new leaves from time to time. I have here a plant as well that I do not know the name, but it's like a weed growing from the plants being potted outside. Here's a baby bird's nest fern. It's currently so tiny. The background is laden with creeping plants. First off is the pothos. This is a golden pothos, Epiprimnum aureum. And then there are wandering Jews. The wandering Jews are really exhibiting bold violet colors inside this paludarium. The ones that the light cannot really penetrate through are showing more greenish hues. However, they're still beautiful. They look like shimmering metals. See. And then this is a Peperomia scandens, a green variant. And then here's a Peperomia scandens variegated. And I'm hoping these plants will grow lushly in the background and will fill that space. And it will look like a jungle. If you ask what type of soil did I use in this paludarium, so on the water area I used the rainforest aquarium soil. I haven't tried using it yet before. This is something that I would really look forward to and what would be the result to the plants. Here's what it looks like there. And on the dry part of this paludarium, I used or tried to use an ABG mix. However, the materials again are hard to come by, so some parts are really just substituted to make sure the soil would be airy, chunky, and could retain moisture as well as be draining the moisture or any excess water into the false bottom of the paludarium. So I cannot really source tree fern fiber and orchid bark from in here. Mostly it's just sphagnum moss and then coconut fiber and some other things. Well, this concludes my tour on this paludarium, and I hope you all liked it.